Hey, thanks for joining me today. It is Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. It's a Big Idea Wednesday. And yeah, I got a really interesting idea to talk about to talk with you today. My name's Tom Coffey, and today let's talk about the sunk cost fallacy. You know what that is, right? It's when you keep investing in something that's clearly not working, just because you've already invested in it so much. It's like when you buy a ticket to a movie that sucks, but you stay till the end because you don't want to waste your money. Or when you date someone who treats you like crap, but you don't break up with them because you've already spent so much time and energy on them. When you vote for a politician who lies to you, cheats on you, steals from you, but you don't change your mind because, well, you already got the yard sign, you already posted your support on Instagram, you got the bumper sticker. Too late now, right? Sunk cost fallacy is a cognitive bias that makes us irrational and stupid. It's why we keep doing things that make us unhappy and miserable. It's why we keep fighting wars that we can't win. It's why we keep watching Netflix shows we don't like. It's why we keep going to Taco Bell. And why? Why do we do it? Because we're afraid to admit that we've wasted our time, money, and energy on something that's clearly not working for us. Because we're afraid to face the reality that we've been duped, brainwashed, exploited by something that's clearly not good for us. Because we're afraid to change our mind, our behavior, and our life. And it's not just big stuff. It's little things too. Like, why sit through a terrible movie just to justify the cost of a ticket? Newsflash, folks, you're never going to get those 2 hours of your life back. And that's a sunk cost you cannot recoup. But here's the good news. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be stuck in the sunk cost fallacy. You can break free from it. You can stop investing in things that are clearly not working for you. You can start investing in things that are working for you. Stop doing things that make you unhappy and miserable. Start doing things that make you happy and fulfilled. What's the solution to this fallacy? Well, to oversimplify, let it go. Cut your losses. Move on. Don't let the fear of wasting your investment keep you from making a better decision in the present. Because life is too short to waste it on things that suck. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, the best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. Hey, glad to see everyone today live, watching live in the chat. Look at all these comments. Awesome. Hey, everybody. I'll be addressing all the comments in the Aftershow. That's after I play the outro music at the end. Stick around and I'll go through all the comments on YouTube and Rumble. Yeah. But the sunk cost fallacy is something that we all fall for. We all fall for this. I have done this so many times I can't even list them all. It's so often. Although I have walked out of movies, I have started walking out of things that I don't like. If I pay to go see some live music, I get my fill, I get whatever I want out of it, and I'll bail. Right? I don't need to stay till the end. If they played the song I like and I've had a good enough time, I'll just leave. I don't need to stay till the very end. But one of the things that I have an issue with is stuff, right? I buy something thinking that I'm going to use it for some incredible project or something. I don't do it. I don't use it. And it just keeps taking up space in my life. And I think, well, I'm not going to get rid of it because, well, I've had it for so long. It's been sitting in the closet for so many years. If I just get rid of it now, that'll all be for a waste. It's like, no, you're letting go of something that you're not using. Okay? Just because something has been in your closet for years doesn't make it any more valuable than if you just bought it today. There's no difference. That is a fallacy that we have in our mind, and we just need to recognize it and get over it. And I know that's one of the hardest things is when someone tells you, hey, don't let this offend you, or hey, let this go. Hey, just change your mind. It's that easy. I know it's really hard. But one of the things is recognizing when we have fallen for this trap. And when we've fallen for it, one of the fun things that you can do is enjoy it. Go, wow, oh man, this is hilarious. I can't believe that I've done this. Isn't that funny? I've kept something in my closet for 10 years and I've never used it. And I'm going to keep it another 10 years because I probably won't use it. No, let it go. It's springtime, spring cleaning. Get rid of the things that are cluttering your life, but also the people and things that you're doing that you just keep doing because you did them in the past, and you can reevaluate it, okay? You don't need to double down on poor decisions just because you put time into it. It's irrational, okay? It's really true in relationships as well. A lot of people stay in unhappy relationships because they put in so much time into it, okay? This is the same line of thinking. It's for friends and colleagues as well. The thing is, researchers have looked into this and they're not really sure why we do this. They do think that there is an aversion to waste and the desire to get one's money's worth, figuratively. But, and occasionally the sunk cost fallacy can work out in your favor. Occasionally, but don't let that affect your decision making. The reason I bring this up today is because I know what an effect it has had on me. I think I've already put in so much time, so I don't want to waste it. Guess what? It's already wasted. Okay? It's already wasted. But that's the sunk cost fallacy. If you have any other examples, let me know in the comments. I think this is a really interesting topic, and it's something that you can talk about with other people in your life, with your family. Talk about maybe things that you all are holding on to, whether that be ideas or, possessions or whatever, that you're holding on to them just because you've held on to them for so long. Okay? You don't have to do that. Let it go. Anyway, we got a good show for you today. I want to talk about, let's see what we've got. Big Idea Wednesday. That was the big idea, the sunk cost fallacy. I want to talk about some Nord Stream nonsense that's going on. I think this is a really interesting story. And it would be an interesting thing to bring up to people in your life that may not follow the news as closely as you do. Breaking news, on the serial case, the serial podcast murder case of Adnan and Syed. Get you updated on that. Justine Bateman is in the news based on a Google search that she did of herself. I'll tell you about that. I want to talk about France. Even though they're in the midst of all these protests and everything, the French government is putting in a new law about using filters on Instagram. Yeah. And lastly, I have some good news about methane. Good news about methane? Yeah, you're going to want to stick around for that. So first, let's get to the story, the biggest story of the day, I guess, and that's this Nord Stream nonsense. Russia failed to get the UN Security Council to support its demand for an independent inquiry into the explosions that damaged the Nord Stream gas pipeline connecting Russia and Germany. Only Russia, China, and Brazil voted in favor of the Russia-drafted text, where the remaining 12 council members abstained. They didn't even vote. Russia has complained it has not been kept informed about ongoing national investigations and has maintained, without evidence apparently, that Western nations were behind the explosions. The US and NATO have called the incident, quote, an act of sabotage, but Russia has demanded an international investigation to find the culprits. So, this looks really fishy. It looks really fishy to me. But I can only view things, through my own lens. But if you go to the UN and you say, hey, remember this biggest sabotage natural disaster in the history of the planet? You remember that? Where this pipeline was just went boom? Not just like, I think it went boom 4 times. Russia would like to have an investigation about that. And the UN, everybody on the UN, with the exception of Brazil, Russia, and China, didn't even bother to vote. They just said, yeah, we're not going to vote. We're going to abstain from this vote, and it's not going to pass. Why would anyone, okay, if this were just some saboteurs that had a yacht and they, put on their snorkels and went down and blowed it up, right? If this were just something like that, why wouldn't the UN, why wouldn't the countries of the UN support this investigation? Russia's already said that they are not getting the independent investigations from the other countries. I know that Sweden did an investigation and decided not to share any of the information from their investigation. They decided, you know what, we're going to keep this one to ourselves. Why do you think that is? Now, we've talked about Seymour Hersh's story where he laid out in great detail what he believed happened. And it involved the United States. Do you think that has anything at all to do with the fact that the UN doesn't want this investigated? I'm trying to see what could be a possible motive other than being guilty. Why would you not want to investigate the largest act of sabotage and environmental disaster in the history of the planet? What? Why not investigate that? Unless, of course, you don't want to find out the results. This doesn't look good at all. And for everyone that is, supporting Ukraine against the evil Russian Putin empire because they're bad, 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 even though you may think that they're the worst in the planet, don't you think there should be an investigation as to who blew up the pipeline? Now, originally, right, we heard in the U.S. media that it was Russia. Russia blew up their own pipeline. Okay, well, now we have a chance to prove that. The UN can authorize an investigation, but they're not doing that. Why? Why? I'm looking for, actually, if you can come up with an honest reason, because all I can think of, I'm not creative enough, I don't have enough imagination as to why all these countries would not want an investigation unless they don't want to know the results of the investigation. That's the only thing I can think of. If you can think of something else, let me know in the comments, because I want to have a better understanding of this. And right now, the U.S. looks really guilty. They look really guilty to me, but maybe you've got a different opinion. Maybe you can sway me. Let me know in the comments. Adnan Syed. Murder conviction has been reinstated by Maryland Appellate Court in a 2-1 decision. The court also ordered a new hearing in the case, saying that the lower court failed to give sufficient notice to the victim's family when it scheduled the September hearing that vacated Syed's conviction and allowed him to regain his freedom after more than 2 decades behind bars. Though Syed's conviction has been reinstated, he will not immediately be taken into custody. His attorney said that he will ask the state Supreme Court to review the case. The Lee family spent decades believing justice had been served, only to be treated as an afterthought when prosecutors decided their case was actually flawed from the beginning, their attorneys have argued. This is an insane case. This is really crazy. If you followed the Serial podcast, you heard a pretty slanted story about this case. Very, very slanted. And even if this was very slanted in the favor of Syed, it's very difficult to believe that this guy is not guilty. It's very difficult to believe that he's not guilty. He was found not guilty several times. And there were several appeals. Guilty, 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 guilty every time. And something odd happened in Baltimore. We have a prosecutor who is also under investigation right now for some shenanigans. But on her way out, she decided to do this. I speculate that this was for clout and this was some kind of payoff, or doing this for the people that are in charge of her. Okay. But if you look into, and that's my challenge, if you don't believe me, look into it yourself. Look into Marilyn Mosby. She was the DA in Baltimore that just decided to throw this out. And the reasoning for throwing it out was ridiculous. Clearly, I can't see a more clear case than this one of a district attorney just abusing their position. It's really, really, really disgusting. Although this story just broke, and I just saw it before I went live, so I need to read a bit more to have more to say about that. But let me know, did you follow the original Serial podcast? And do you have thoughts on this reinstatement of his murder charge? Let me know in the comments. And now let's get to something a tad more positive. Okay, Justine Bateman. If you remember Justine Bateman, I certainly do. Former star of the 80s sitcom Family Ties has spoken out against societal beauty standards in plastic surgery. In an interview with 60 Minutes Australia, Bateman revealed that she Googled herself and found that, quote, looks old was one of the top autocomplete suggestions. Since then, she's embraced her aging appearance and written a book titled Face, 1 Square Foot of Skin. Bateman believes that women should focus on overcoming their fears rather than trying to fix their face. She also stated that she likes her face and believes that it represents who she is. So I love this. I think, for Justine Bateman, I think she looks fantastic. She's 57. She looks great now. She looked great her whole life. I think she looks unbelievable, and she looks real. And that should be a thing. I think that people should aspire to. That should be a look. You know, we have these different looks that women have. I'm not a big fan of all the Botox and the plumping the lips and, the facelifts. And when people get facelifts, for the most part, you can tell that they've had it done, right? When you get plastic surgery, and now these women that are in their 60s or 70s or 80s, when they're getting a a facelift, they just look like an 80-year-old with a facelift. You're not fooling anybody. And I think it's refreshing that Justine Bateman said, no, screw it. I am who I am. I like that. Now, it's a lot easier to just say I am who I am if you're beautiful, right? That's a lot easier. It's got to be a lot tougher, if you're hideous, right? And you want to look a little better. Oh, some kind of moth in here. Yeah. So it's a little easier to do. If you're really, really good looking, it's easy to go, you don't have to get plastic surgery. I get it. But I think that this is a positive story to me. What do you think? Do you think she looks good? I think she looks fantastic. Definitely would swipe right, if you will. All right, let's get to the next one. And speaking of filters, France is considering a law that would ban influencers from promoting cosmetic surgery on social media and would require them to disclose use of filtered or retouched images. The law, proposed by French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire, aims to limit the negative psychological effects of such practices on social media users. Violations could result in fines of up to £30,000 or €30,000 and 2 years in jail, and offending influencers could be barred from social media and their careers on the platform. The law would apply to all French influencers and those living abroad but earning money from products sold in France. And I just put a super filtered picture of France up here. But we're talking about people using filters, using all the crazy filters. I know there's one on TikTok now that is unreal, how good it is. Now, I don't know that this would necessarily have the effect that this legislator is looking for. Because I suspect if this were the law, everyone would just, everything's filtered. That you would just put the little disclaimer, yes, this has been retouched or something on every single post you do. Because when I look at Instagram, like all the famous people on Instagram, 100% of them are filtered. 100% of them. I don't ever see one that isn't. Hashtag not all, there's exceptions, but for the most part, that's all I see is heavy filters on every single influencer online. And so I just suspect that everyone would just say that there's a filter. I suspect. I don't know that people would try to fake that. People are photoshopping things all the time and they get called out. But the filters, we've seemed to accept it, that it's okay for filters. If I'm looking at someone, I would at least like to see a picture of them without a filter. I've seen on some dating sites, you go through someone's file or profile, and every single picture has a filter. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work for me. But I suspect if this law goes into effect in France, that everyone will just say that it's filtered. It's just kind of like when they passed a law. I don't know if it was a law or exactly what it was, that you had to disclose if something was an ad. And so you had to put like hashtag ad or something like that. If you were an influencer and you were talking about a product, you had to make it clear that you were being paid to talk about that product. And guess what? Everybody just did it. They would just keep doing whatever they were doing and then just put a little hashtag ad or however they do it. So I don't know that this will have the effect that they're looking for, but it is an interesting idea. Typically, I am against, like more regulation. I'm not, I don't think that that's always a good thing, but if it turns out that so many people are being affected by this unrealistic beauty standard, and everyone's feeling bad about themselves and putting a little hashtag filtered or something would alleviate that a little bit. I don't know. I really don't even know what my opinion is on this. But what's your opinion? Let me know, because tell me what I need to think about this one. And now let's get to some good news. A new study from the University of California, Riverside has found that methane's impact on climate change is not as intense as previously thought. Yeah! Methane also absorbs shortwave energy, which cancels out 30% of its own heat by creating cooling clouds. The study found that methane cancels 60% of the increased levels of precipitation predicted under global warming models. Methane accounts for around 10% of U.S.'s emissions, and its lifespan in terms of harmful effects on climate is around 9 years, compared to over 1,000 years for CO2. The study will help create more accurate climate models. Now, I know talking about climate change is it controversial? I guess it is. I guess it's controversial to have any opinion that doesn't align with 97% or whatever they say of the scientists. But this is actually good news, right? If it turns out that all of these models that they had relied on the effects of methane, and it turns out that methane doesn't have the effect that they were talking about, that it's a lot lower than what they said before, they can update their models, and this is good news, right? This is good news. Unless, of course, you're like really obsessed with hoping for the end of the world. I'm not hoping for the end of the world, so I like when we hear that there's some good news. We heard a lot about methane from cows' flatulence, right? That the cows are causing all this methane, and it's such a terrible thing for climate change. Turns out it's not nearly as big a deal as they thought. So that's good news, right? That's good news. Unless you're making a whole lot of money on climate change. If you're getting rich off climate change, this probably isn't good news. But for humanity, this is good news. So let me know what you think about that. And it will be helpful for the arguments about cows in the future. I've heard the cow flatulence argument a lot, and I never bought it. And now here comes a story that kind of reinforces what I already thought. Funny how that happens sometimes. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Stick around the after show. I will be going through all of your comments. But until tomorrow, have a beautiful day. I'll see you then. Peace. Hey, everybody. Thanks for sticking around for the after show. Like one thing that we talked about today, the sunk cost fallacy. I need to do that as well with my channel. So, for example, I've been streaming on many platforms. Odyssey, no one's really watching it on Odyssey. Now, I've been streaming on Odyssey all year. What I told myself is at the beginning I'm going to do 100 shows Monday to Friday, and then I can make some adjustments to it. We're not quite yet, but Odyssey, no one's really watching there. So just because I've put in all of these streams going there, probably to continue to do it, right? That's sunk cost fallacy right there. I don't need to continue to streaming to Odyssey because no one's watching it. And I can have it posted on Odyssey afterwards. So that's not a big deal. Over on Rumble, no comments today. Yikes, no comments right now. But the funny thing, even though there's no comments, and right now, when I look at the number of views, we're really doing well on Rumble. Yesterday, when I talked about you get what you look for, we had 400 views over on Rumble. So that's great compared to what we had on YouTube. So lots of views over on Rumble. If you're watching over on Rumble, please hit the up button, the like button, whatever it is over there, and leave a comment, because I don't know if these views are real people or not. So leave a comment if you're over there on Rumble. And here on YouTube, Apothecary John in the chat first, as usual. Just a reminder, John set up a Discord server for this channel. I will be learning about Discord. I will be checking in over there. We had a couple people join, and I guess it's fun. We can post GIFs. We can argue about how to say that over on Discord. There will be a link in the description, so if that's your thing, go check that out. Natasha says, I love that Tom does segments on these social, what do you call them, quirks, terms, descriptors. Yeah, this psychological phenomenon, I guess, phenomena, I guess, is what I might call them. Consider taking these segments and making a playlist. Yes, that is one thing. Miranda suggests, Tom, if you cut up the live stream into smaller segments and post those after the fact, you might grow the channel. Lots of YouTubers do that. That is what I am thinking about. And again, this comes down to the sunk cost fallacy. I've done so much, but if something's not working, time to switch it up. I do like doing the whole live show on YouTube live. I like that. Now, what I've seen other people do, other creators do, is they will have the whole show live, and if you don't see it live, you're out of luck. And then they will just cut up a couple portions and then post those as videos. I haven't done that yet, just because it's a little bit more work than what I want to do. But I may do that. I really am reevaluating and how I can do things better, and I don't need to keep doing things that aren't working, right? So perhaps that's what I'll do, is perhaps I'll record the show live at noon on the West Coast, and if you don't watch it live, I guess you're out of luck, and I might just chop up some segments and put those out as videos. I don't know. I've tried that. It's tricky to figure out the best way to do things, but we can try different things, and I will be doing that. Says, drawing folks with low attention spans. Yes, I know that sometimes if you see a video that's really long, maybe you don't go to it. Don't know. Let's see. What else is here going on in the chat? Okay. The bumper music gets stuck in my head, so congrats on that. Yeah, I love the bumper music. I think it's great. Let's see. Cutting up clips and posting them as YouTube Shorts. Oh, that might help. So I'm going to have to learn how to do shorts as well. See, I need I need an assistant. That's what I need. I need a teenager here that can do all this stuff for me. Life's too short to waste it. I agree. Sunk cost fallacy is the same as don't know when to quit. That's pretty good. Time is the main thing I invest, and I don't know if I should give up, like waiting for someone that was supposed to meet me. Yeah, that's tricky. That is tricky. I imagine, though, in the future, you could put this information, right, into a spreadsheet. If you were, now, I'm not saying to do this now, but just think about it. You got a little spreadsheet on your phone, so when you meet people, you have the time that you were going to meet them, and then you put in the time they arrive, and you can start tracking this, and then you can ask AI, hey, I'm at the coffee shop. I'm supposed to meet Danny right now. Hey, AI, what time will Danny show up? And then the AI can look at the past meetings and make a calculation as to the time that your friend is going to show up based on historical records. I don't know. I know, that's silly. I do need to get better at throwing things away or giving them away. One of the things that with stuff, we have this thing called in Portland called the bins. It's the Portland Goodwill outlet, and that's where things that don't sell at the Goodwills go, and they just put them in these big bins, and you can buy it by weight. So, and you go there and you walk around and you see all these people getting stuff, and you realize that just pretty much most of the stuff we have is crap. It's not as valuable as we think. It really isn't. And if you have, one of the things is if you have so much clutter, you don't have room for any new cool stuff. But if you get rid of a bunch of crap, right, then you've got room for new awesome stuff. Now, maybe that's another fallacy, but it is what it is. I keep too much, says Lucid Moments of Reality. I do too. That's something I'm working on. I used to sew a lot and have a lot of fabric. Maybe someday I will take it up again. Tom's shirts are eye candy for me. Oh, thank you. I like my shirts. I think they're fun. I have a separate room just for stuff I really don't look at anymore. That's the thing. If you ever watch, back in the day, it was Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, or on MTV Cribs, they'd have it go to a famous person's house or apartment, and they didn't have a bunch of crap. And that's the thing. If you're a millionaire and you could buy anything, a multimillionaire, you could buy anything in the world, you never put too much stuff in your living room. You just have just the right amount of stuff in you. You never have too much. Right? Even though they can get anything they want, they temper it. Right? You just put in the stuff that would make it awesome. So if that's how the uber wealthy do it, we should probably follow suit. We don't need to clutter up our living rooms with a bunch of extra stuff. So let it go. Let's see. Russia can sell their gas elsewhere. It is Germany that is hurt, as now they have to buy liquefied gas from the U.S. at higher costs. But Germany won't support an investigation either. It is interesting that Germany does not support an investigation as to who killed their access to cheap energy. That's a tricky one. Yeah, Germany went all in on the Russian pipeline. They did. And now it's gone boom, and they don't want an investigation. That just seems odd. Doesn't it seem odd? Does seem odd to me. The only murder podcast I watch is the Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. Is that a real podcast? I'm unfamiliar with that. I've kind of heard about it, but I don't know if it's real or not. Serial, the original one, has just spawned this whole industry of murderinos or whatever. All these people listening to the real crime, and it really is a disingenuous look at these cases. So many of these podcasts do not look at reality. They're looking for a story. They're crafting a story, and they're selling a story. And you know what's a boring story? Guy kills someone, is caught, and is guilty, and he's in prison. Nobody cares about that story. The story that everyone wants to hear is man murders someone, found guilty, didn't actually do it. So that's the only story they can tell, because that's the story that will get the clicks. That's the story that will get the listeners, the Patreons, the people supporting the podcast. They have to lie to you and tell you that these people are innocent, right? That's what sells. I don't know of one that I have seen that I actually believe. Every single time I hear about these cases, if you look into it, everyone's guilty. They're all guilty. And it's weird to me that they often choose these stories where the person is clearly guilty and then craft a narrative to make it seem like they're not guilty. I'm sure that there are innocent people that have been convicted, right? That's math. There has to be. Those don't seem to be the cases that anyone chooses. The cases that people choose to cover in these murder podcasts and things like that are always the ones where they're guilty as hell. I don't know. Getting work done just seems wrong unless you're also donating an equal amount of money to feeding starving children. Okay, I'm not sure what that... Oh, work meaning plastic surgery. Okay. Good for Justine Bateman. Nothing wrong with getting old and actually looking like it. Family Ties was a good show. I think she looks fantastic. I'm all in favor. Kenny Rogers. Now, Apothecary John says, I couldn't see the Rumble stream. Huh. Interesting. So maybe there was an issue with the Rumble stream. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to double check afterwards. So cow farts aren't the end of the world. This is good news. I agree. It is good news. Fact check Friday tomorrow. No, that would be on Thursday. Tomorrow's Thursday. But on Friday I'll do that. I tried to get on Discord, but the registration just didn't work out. Well, try again. Try with a different browser. If you want to. Oh, Miranda says I tried Rumble and couldn't get the live stream. Huh. I will have to double check. Now I'm looking on it now, and it does say that I've had 5 views, so I think a couple people have viewed it. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'll look at that afterwards. Okay, and some people are saying that the Discord didn't work for them. Okay, Tom, you could also do a good news playlist. Yes, I could do a good news playlist. That would involve me editing videos and doing more work. But that is true. And actually, that's a great idea. I appreciate you sharing that idea with me. See, Eerie Fairy says, I much prefer long format content. That's what I'm doing this year. I'm trying to do this long form content. A lot leave the live stream, but only on Patreon. A lot leave the live stream. Okay. I do listen to lots of true crime channels. The good ones, though. Okay. Only Murders in the Building is a comedy series. Okay, it's a comedy series. Nice to know that. Oh, thought that show was inspired by the book series The Thursday Murder Club. Maybe I'm making that up, says the Eerie Fairy. Don't know. Not really my scene there. Afterwards, I will check out and see what's going on, why there was some issue with Rumble today. But it is what it is. Thanks for sticking around. And again, if you have story suggestions, you got good news stories you want to share with me that I might want to share on the show, go over to the Discord, check it out, link in the description, and have fun putting up GIFs and things there. I don't know. Anyway, hope you all have an awesome day. I will see you tomorrow. The sun is out here in Portland. I can't wait to get outside. Hope you can get outside too. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.